when I do small videos on YouTube, small videos on TikTok about these things, people kind of feel like, oh no, this is just methods, this is just tactics. Like these things work. Nobody gave me a memo for this space. And all these years were spent climbing this mountain. And when you get to the top of the mountain, you realize, I hope that you guys are also learning a lot from the guests that I'm bringing on the channel. If someone explained to me what being in this space is like, I wouldn't have been able to fully grasp it until I experienced it. So I decided I'm gonna come here, sit down, and just do like a mini heart to heart kind of conversation. A lot of it and a lot of lessons and a lot of growth had to come from the journey itself. I look at my life and I'm just like, Lord, we still have so much work to do. These small wins, they are all leading to the big win. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, a veteran in this channel, welcome back for another exciting episode of Risk Money and Insurance. So today I was meant to have a guest. But unfortunately, the guest wasn't feeling well. So we had to move things around a bit. And because I owe you guys an episode from last week, I thought to myself, we can't go for 3 weeks without posting anything. And so I decided I'm going to come here, sit down, and just do like a mini heart to heart kind of conversation and maybe recap a bit on some of the things we've been discussing on these episodes of building generational wealth, which I'm not sure about you, but they've been so impactful in my life. And I hope that you guys are also learning a lot from the guests that I'm bringing on the channel. So before I get ahead of myself, we will do, our usual let's check in and all of that stuff. So if you see me looking down, it's me looking at some of the cues, so the questions I wrote for myself, just so we can have a conversation that's a bit structured and a bit organized compared to me just rambling and being all over the place, which, my God, I know I can do it. So how am I doing? I think when I do the sit downs, I will just start with this question, like, how am I doing? I think I'm doing okay. I got my hair done, so I think I look good. There's something about getting your hair done or getting your nails done. It's another level. Like if your confidence was here, it's suddenly just, now you look in the mirror like I'm the guy. I know. But I think on a physical front, I'm doing really well. Emotionally, I'm doing okay. Mentally as well, I think these are kind of like some of my best mental health days. And every single day, I'm feeling a bit more settled and a bit more in tune with myself and a bit more relaxed and sometimes stressed, right? But I think most of the days, let's just talk on most of the days. Most of the days, I am feeling very upbeat, very comfortable with who I am, being very accepting. I think the whole theme is just self-acceptance and challenging myself to be better than what I was yesterday. So even today, I think the feeling is that went to church in the morning. That was amazing. I was leading prayer and all of that. And these are some of those little moments that I kind of consider as pockets of joy because they do have an impact on me and they impact how I show up. And I'm also really looking forward to the upcoming week. Nothing much or nothing eventful happening. It's sort of like I'm sort of in a space where a lot is happening, but nothing is happening at the same time. And I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I will explain that as we go to the next question. That will be a part of this conversation. But overall, I'm doing good. I am good. Yeah, I'm doing really good. I can't lie. I'm doing really good. I've had better days, and I think this counts as one of those. What am I grateful for? Sure, there's a whole lot to be grateful for, but I think top of mind, the first one is just the breath of life, man. Yeah, we cry over things, we want bigger things, we want better things, but if you're not alive, those things don't count, right? So the breath of life that is, in my lungs, and the thing that I woke up this morning, and not because there's something I did or there's something special about me that made me wake up in the morning. I didn't wake myself, but God woke me up this morning, and I'm grateful to be able to see another day and dive into another yeah, another day, another week, another season of life, or another season that life has to offer. And secondly, I'm also just grateful for like a healthy body, a healthy mind, and the fact that emotionally, we've been stable, relatively stable. We've had our dips and our ups, but like it's been relatively stable, and we've sort of been able to regulate our emotions and like, bounce back up when life is throwing punches. And one of the things that I've been taking note of recently is just how, sometimes based on perspective that you have about your day, your life, your interactions with someone, if you're not careful about the perspective you have, you might tend to exaggerate how things are. Like, it's very easy to fall into the trap of just feeling like nothing is moving, or feeling like, oh, this was horrible. Some of the things are not that horrible. It was just a bad moment and not a bad day. It was a bad minute and not a bad life, things like that. So I'm grateful for that. Good health, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of the jazz. Yeah, just appreciating being healthy. And I think the last thing that I'll share is just around, was thinking about this in the morning, that having a mind that is able to understand and learn and absorb different things at different, levels, from like the simplest to the most complicated things, which in turn helps my life to be easier in terms of work and the learning journey that I'm on, even at work, and keeping up with everything basically that's happening, and still finding joy even in those, challenging but also fulfilling moments. Yeah, those are the three things I'm grateful for. So maybe you guys can also like feel like I've been oversharing already. 2 minutes in, I've already overshared. If you guys can also put it in the comment section, like, where are you at? What kind of a space are you in? And what are you grateful for? Then the last question, in terms of just checking in and us diving into just having this heart to heart conversation today, is around, what kind of a space or what kind of a season am I in? And I think when I had Pelisa as my guest a couple of weeks ago, we spoke around how the season of my life, the season that I'm in my life right now, is called, the learning season. There's been a lot that I've learned. And it's also one of those things where I was chatting to the guy who referred my CV so that I get this job, because that's basically how it happened. So what had happened was, I was there in my actuarial corner running actuarial models, and I just felt like something was missing. And I think a huge part of that was I kind of felt like I needed to be closer to businesses, to be closer to money, to sort of align my career with my passion, which is financial literacy, money, and making a difference. So I just felt like I wanted to be in a space where my career doesn't feel too far removed from my passion. I'm not sure if that makes sense. But anywho, so we were chatting with the guy who referred my CV, Fari, and we're just chatting around, because it's been 3 months basically of me transitioning from actuarial science into investment banking, right? So it's like, damn, it's been 3 months already, but there is so much that I've learned, and like so many engagements that I've had that are so rich, that sort of, had someone explained to me what being in this space is like, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have like been able to fully grasp it until I experience it. Like there's some moments or some seasons or some things that you kind of have to go through them. It's like when someone is trying to tell you what being in labor is like to give birth. I'm not sure why that's the example that came to mind. But like if someone were to explain to you what giving birth is like, you're probably not gonna understand it fully until it's you in that position who's giving birth. And it sort of feels like that. Like I can't fully explain how the 3 months into this new role feel like, because there are a lot of things where I'm like, I don't think I have the words or the vocabulary to fully explain like what it feels like. But one thing for sure is it's totally different from what I was doing, as I said in the other video. Like, but what I'm really enjoying is getting closer to businesses and seeing like people building their businesses, be seeing or talking or engaging with clients that are running their businesses, and sort of like what they've been able to do to make their businesses like work. And seeing some of the most incredible business models out there where it's like, this is ghosted. I mean, it's so unfortunate that I can't tell you guys like the deals that I'm on, or the amazing stuff that I'm doing. But when I tell you it's amazing, I mean it. It's not a lie. It's not a joke. My smile should tell you. But it's like sitting in a room, right? And listening to or talking to people that have built something worthwhile. And some of the lesson or some of the things that I've just been able to pick up in those rooms is around, which is a point of reflection for me to say, sometimes we're just so much in a rush, right? We're in a rush to build businesses that will leave or that will outlive us, or build empires and stuff like within 2 years and all of that. But I'm learning that to build businesses or build structures or build systems that will last, a lifetime, or even outlive you as the founder or an individual, it takes a lot of courage, but it also takes a lot of patience. And you also have to be so invested in learning about the space that you're in, such that you master what you're doing, right? And after mastering what you're doing and figuring out what works and what doesn't work, you stick to the stuff that works. And where change is coming, you also are adaptable enough to keep the learning, going, such that even when, threats come and like, there's AI and there's technology and there's all these things that can disrupt your market. You need to build a system, a business that can defend itself in, real time, tough times. And it all feels like, oh my God, it's a lot of, complicated things. But I've seen in the simplicity of it at work, to say, sometimes you just need to sit down to say, but what is our focus? What are we trying to do in this business? Or if it's your life, it's what am I trying to do with my life? What am I trying to achieve here? What does this mean to me? Why am I so invested in this thing? Why is this problem close to my heart? And what am I going to do to address this problem? Or what am I going to do to make a difference? Right. And so there's been a lot of that. And one of the struggles, maybe, because I've highlighted and I've painted this amazing picture, and everybody's like, oh my God, you're having such a great time. We love your work outfits. That's another thing that I'm enjoying. Just dressing up for work. I don't know what it is. I do not know what it is. But honey, when you look good, when you look good, I don't know what it is. There's something about just waking up in the morning and deciding on how I want to show up as, right? And envisioning. And so I think with me and my sense of style and my fashion or whatever, I sort of there are clothes that I can imagine or envision myself wearing, and I sort of envision myself like also styling them. And then I've sort of made it a conscious decision in my late 20s. And every single year, when closer to my birthday, I keep telling my sister this. I keep telling my sister, I want to show up in the best way possible. And I think my style has just gotten better, like with every birthday. I'm telling you, my style has gotten better with every birthday. Okay, today I'm just wearing, we're doing heart to heart. Today I'm just wearing this, but it's fine. So just showing up looking good has definitely done something for me. I don't know what it is, but there is this confidence that comes with knowing that I own what I'm wearing. Not own as in like but like you own your style, you own how you basically want to present yourself, and you present yourself in the best way possible. And one thing that I thought would actually be very intimidating is, sitting in a room with like CEOs or like CFOs and like board members and, all these billionaires and millionaires, and feeling like, oh my goodness, what kind of a space is this? Can I really contribute? I thought I'd actually struggle with that. But when I get into those rooms, I'm like, okay, dish out all the wisdom. I'm here for it. I want to hear it. I want to I want to take it in. I want to understand, how your business is doing, how it started, where it's going. And it's been so fulfilling. I won't lie. It's been so fulfilling and so inspiring at the same time, just seeing the kind of businesses that people have built. And I keep holding myself back because I can't, of course, start divulging what businesses, which is so hard. But believe me, guys, it's been very inspiring. And I think we can, talk about, showing up well and being fortunate enough to be in rooms where a lot of big conversations are being had and you are sort of part of the conversation. But the transition itself hasn't been easy. And I think, maybe from the first video that I did when I came back, one thing for sure, knowing what I know now, given that it's been 3 months already, knowing what I know now, would I have taken the leap to pivot into investment banking or not? I think based on what I've just said in the past minute, you guys know it's a no, right? Wouldn't have changed my mind. I would still have made, the leap to the change, knowing what I know now. But what I've sort of been battling with or like struggling with, which I at first I didn't know like how to put words to it. I didn't have the vocab to express it until I just sort of so I do this thing on my phone. I use an iPhone, guys. So there's this app, right, called the Journal app. This app basically called the Journal app. So I kind of every time I have a thought, I call them thoughts, but they're just like inspirations or prayers or whatever, moments of reflection, or something happens and I feel like, oh my God, I need to write that down, or like someone says something profound that speaks to me. I write it down on the journal app. And so I went for the professionalism course basically because I passed my fellowship exam. So the natural progression of things is you go and you attend a professionalism course for fellowship, right? To become a fellow. So I went, attended the course, and what was insane was, I feel like, okay, cool. I enjoy what I do. I love what I'm doing right now. I enjoyed my days in actuarial. They had, the good and the bad, but like, we had to finish. We finished. What I didn't see coming was having to experience this void, um which is crazy because when I was basically reflecting now, going back, when I was thinking about making the transition, I wasn't thinking about this void that I'm currently sitting with, even in this moment, the void that I'm sitting with, to say I have basically decided that I wanted to be an actuary when I was 15 years old, right? I was 15 and I decided, you know what? I'm going to be an actuary. I was in grade 9. And ever since then, there's just been this goal, right, that I've been chasing for the longest time. And this goal has been I want to qualify as an actuary, right? And I want to be an actuary. I want to be an actuary. So from 2012, I've been singing the song, and it's sort of been a very long-term goal because I mean, come on, 2012 until 2025, this is a long journey, right? I mean, that's a very long journey. So I've had this long journey of chasing after this thing that I wanted to become, right? Only for me to become that thing and decide that I want to be something else, right? So at first I never thought it was going to be an issue. I was like, okay, cool, sharp, but like we're very clear on, what we want to do, what we want more of in our career, and like the direction that we want to take. And the day when the 2 days where I went to attend the professionalism course and all of that, I sat there and I found myself having nostalgia basically of the good old actuarial days, like the good old days of studying. And this is crazy because had you asked me about studying when I was still studying, I would have said, hell to the no. I am going to finish my fellowship exam and I am not going to study. I am going to be free. Like I'm going to focus on being free. And after that course, I think for me, what it did was to also just affirm, like, affirm a whole lot of things. And I was like, this is crazy. So I'm just going to dive into it, right? To say, like, you spent the longest time climbing this mountain, like basically climbing this mountain. And when you get to the peak, it's like, it is such an anticlimax in that everything that you thought, I thought like this was gonna be the highlight of my life, which don't get me wrong, I'm trying to sit with it to say it is like it definitely is. They were even telling us like, you guys, you understand that in the whole entire world, right, there are less than there are around like 100K fellows, basically actuarial fellows. So out of 7 billion people in the world, you guys are part of this 100 and something thousand people or individuals who were able to see this journey through. And for me, that was just like when I embarked on this journey, it was about I want to challenge myself. I want to do something to prove to myself that I can do it. And which was also the inspiration behind, as much as I know I'm going to pivot eventually, I want to finish this thing because I want to prove to myself that I can actually do it. And all these years were spent climbing this mountain. And when you get to the top of the mountain, you realize, yeah, and we did it. And then what? Right? And that is sort of the void that you now start living with, which is actually very weird. I mean, nobody told me about this. Nobody told me how, now you're sitting and you're like, my life has been structured for the longest time. My life was centered around very few things: work, church, studying, right? And without even realizing it, studying took most of my leisure time or free time, right? It took a lot of my time. It took a lot of my weekends. It took a lot of my early mornings. It took a lot of my late evenings. It took a lot of my holidays. Like, studying took a lot. And now I'm sort of in a space where I don't have to study. I still have to work. I still have to go to church. But that's also part of this void where for the longest time you spend your time studying, and now you're in a space where you're navigating, not having, okay, I'm still learning. There's still a lot of things that I'm like, there are courses that I've sort of enrolled for on Udemy. There's YouTube, there's all these things, but it's not the same as studying knowing that there's a deadline, like you're writing an exam in 2 weeks' time, or you're writing an exam in 3 weeks' time. And so also now sitting to say, wow, this new world that I'm in is also very different from my old world, right? And feeling like you miss the old world. And I had to sit with that this past week because I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that nostalgia for studying, nostalgia for running profit models and Excel spreadsheets and all of that, what all of that meant, right? Because you're almost always afraid after making a big change to think that, what if I had made a mistake? What if what if I shouldn't have taken the move that I had taken? And I think I was sitting with that a lot because I was like, damn, I attended professionalism course and I find myself shaking in my boots around, my career move, and how much I will never be the actuary that I was when I was in insurance, that's for sure. But like finding yourself missing that part to say, but am I still an actuary? Moving forward, how do I navigate, being in this new space, but also still being a professional, I guess, professional actuarial fellow? How do I navigate all of that? And so it's quite an interesting one, and I think I don't have all the answers around how or where or what, or what my journey going forward would look like, because it's also a thing of the space that I'm in requires a lot mentally, in terms of time as well. It requires a lot of my time, and I'm deciding, I've sort of kind of decided to say I will honor the space that I'm in and give it my best shot, because in the midst of missing the old, there is also an excitement, and there's an enthusiasm and a passion for what I'm currently doing. But it's also like, then am I still an actuary? Do I still need to keep up with, all the actuarial stuff, all the actuarial conferences, all the actuarial things? I need to keep up for CPD, that's for sure. But just in terms of learning, passion, like, what does my journey going forward look like? Because nobody gave me a memo for this space. Like, nobody gave me a memo around how do you juggle being in a non-traditional space, but still acting as an actuary, but I'm not an actuary in my normal day-to-day job. But like I'm still an actuary because they told us we're always actuaries. So wherever I go, I'm always gonna be a fellow actuary. But it's sort of like navigating that space and the growing tension that also comes with the people that I work with. None of the people in my team are actuaries. It's mostly, we have a lot of CAs, we have engineers in the team as well. And it's sort of like it also becomes very interesting to have conversations around, this is something actuarial that I need to do, or this is something actuarial that they need to pay for, because they don't understand like all these things. And it's kind of like there is this growing tension, right, around how do I still maintain being an actuary while um immersing myself fully into the investment banking space without necessarily losing. I don't want to call it an identity, but like I don't know what to call it, but whatever, my identity, I guess, for lack of a better word, as an actuary. And that has been an interesting tension. And I've also found myself grieving, right? And this is sort of crazy because I never thought I would grieve um I would grieve my old life like this. Like I would grieve grieve, because all along you had this picture in your mind around what the future would look like when you are a fellow actuary. And I think when I was studying, it always looked like an actuary in the traditional actuarial space. And having to let go of that idea of I'm not going to be a traditional actuary in an actuarial space, and having to say, now that we are where we are, how do we merge the two worlds? Um, and the reason why I always say, I will always be an actuary is because the training that we underwent, with the board exams and stuff, I mean, actuarial is a way of thinking, right? And combining that into my new role sort of gives me a different, perspective. It gives me a different way of thinking. But it's the how do I bring the two worlds together so that all the work, all the exams I went through, and all the training I went through, all the childment I underwent at UCT do not actually go down the drain. So, in the long and short of it, even after attaining a very amazing goal, a beautiful goal that I've been pursuing or I've pursued for years, for the longest of time. I mean, it's like 9 years in total. That's a long time, right? Including my university, whatever, 9, 10 years and almost 10 years in total. That's a very long time, right? So pursuing all of that, there's often an unspoken void that surfaces after you've gotten what you were actually chasing after. And what's crazy is what's in your mind around, how it will feel like when you get there is actually very different from the actual experience, or at least in my experience, just talking about this. Like what I envision and what I'm going through, I can't compare, right? And we often, I always used to hate it when people tell me, enjoy the journey. I was just like, what do you mean? I just want to get to the finish line. I want to get there. I want to be qualified. But the people used to say, enjoy the journey. And I think I never understood what they meant until now, where I'm like, damn, I think I understand what they were trying to say, because we attribute so much to what it would feel like when we've gotten there. And we forsake the journey to getting there because it's not as glamorous. I mean, just reflecting on the journey, waking up at 3 a.m. to study, like really seriously, I would sleep in, right? And forsaking, your emotions and saying, I am going to focus. I am going to be disciplined to do this. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very disciplined when I have to get stuff, but like when I have to get stuff done. But it's one of those things where you're like, this is tough. This journey is tough. And then you come across difficult exams, you fail multiple times, not once, not twice, not three times, not four times, not five times, like you fail multiple times, and you all you can think of in those moments is the destination. Only if I can get to the destination, right? And you get to the destination and you realize that the big part of the whole entire goal was the journey itself. And this is something that I won't even lie and say I appreciated in the journey. It's something that in retrospect I am now appreciating, to say, damn, from just this young little innocent girl, smart, top student in Limpopo province, excited about leaving Limpopo and going to UCT far away from home to study actuarial science because she believed she can, and she was very stubborn about it and no one was going to tell her otherwise, to being this person who's now qualified, done with all her exams. Those two people are very different. And a lot of it, and a lot of lessons and a lot of growth had to come from the journey itself. So that is sort of, wow, that took a while, but that is sort of the tension that I've sort of been, grasping and battling with. And I sort of started reflecting as well on, this series that we are on around building generational wealth, to say there's been a lot of moments in my life where, other people would look at your life and think, oh my God, your life is going really well. Like you've achieved a lot for your age and all of that. But when you look at your own life, I don't know, like we were having chats with a friend of mine and they were just expressing how much I've done, and like all the things I've achieved and all of that. And me being me, the kind of person I am, when I look at my life, I often don't see the all the great things that I've done. Like I look at my life and I'm just like, Lord, we still have so much work to do. We still have so much work to do, Nkosiyam. Like that's how I see it. Like when other people are like, oh my God, goals and whatnot, I'm thinking, only if you can see what I'm trying to achieve. This is nothing. Like we haven't gotten there. This is like step one out of a billion steps, right? And a lot of time that comes with you achieve something and you quickly want to move on to the next thing because you are projecting this very long journey, and it just feels like we haven't even gotten to halfway, where we want to actually be. And the trap in that is the goalpost keeps moving, right? Because what I'm dreaming this year is what I'm dreaming this year. But by next year, there will be bigger things and bigger dreams that I'm chasing after. So the goalpost just keeps moving, and you keep chasing and chasing and chasing without taking a moment to sit down to say, actually, let's celebrate this milestone, or let's celebrate this step that we've taken, or let's acknowledge where we are. Let's acknowledge what we've been able to achieve so far. And it's something that I struggle with. My best friend reminds me all the time to celebrate myself because that's how bad it is. Like she has to be like, dude, celebrate yourself, do something. Shout out to you, bestie. Like celebrate yourself, do what you have to do. But take a moment to pause and celebrate. And we can chase things a lot. Like we can chase dreams, goals, and like keep on keeping on with the chasing. But I think in building wealth, because you can say I feel like I'll be wealthy when I'm a billionaire, right? And you're probably gonna get to a billion. What's crazy is what I'm seeing even at work is even the people with billions want to make more billions. So the goalpost just keeps, moving. And so if you are going to define happiness, joy, peace, success, and all of that according to moving goalposts, then you will get to the destination, but it won't feel as what you thought it would feel like. Or you will get to the destination and you just keep moving the goalpost. And a lot of it also has to come with embracing the journey, which is a lesson I learned from the previous journey I was on. Embracing the journey to building generational wealth. And one of the things that I've sort of like been conversations I've sort of been having with myself a lot around is, taking a moment to actually just take stock and enjoy, and take a moment, pause, and applaud yourself for the things that you are doing right. Like, one, the fact that budgeting is a part of my nature. Like last night, I sat down with, because it's been 2 weeks since I got paid. Is it 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 2 weeks? Okay, 2 weeks. Let's stick with 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since I got paid, right? And I was listening to this other lady, and she was talking about how, you know, review your basically, which is also something I said on my book, review your budget and whatever. I was in the habit of doing it before payday, like once a month and all of that. And she was talking about, no, make it a regular thing so that you like receiving feedback as the month progresses. So yesterday, sat down and I took my bank, opened all my banking apps, and I was just like, tying back the numbers to what I had budgeted, and like seeing, there were a lot of random once-off expenses that happened this month because of a trip that's coming up in November. But I was like, it's fine. I'm still happy with, those once-off things, because anyways, I would have had to incur them in end of October or November anyways. So sitting down and celebrating that, and I was just thinking, then we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it twice, because from now until another 2 weeks, we'll have to sit down 2 weeks to plan for the next month and how things are done. But like, that is not an issue. Like, budgeting is not an issue to me. Like, I know, like, I need to sit down, and it's not forced. It's like it has become second nature in how I manage my finances. It's like, this is fine. When it comes to investing on a monthly basis, I have a stop order for that, or debit order for that. I don't have to worry about that. Money comes in, it's already going out. I don't even need to think about it. Even like when I think about money that I have, I'm not even counting that money. I'm just like, it's gone. The debit order, it's out. It's gone, right? And a big thing has just been around, okay, cool. How do we sustain the system that is working currently? Like, even in terms of my car, I was like, I'm not gonna pay my car for the full term. I paid it off last year, and I was like, hey, make extra payments every chance you get. And what's crazy is, when I do small videos on YouTube, small videos on TikTok about these things, people kind of feel like, oh no, this is just methods, this is just tactics. Like, these things work. And it's so crazy that my own car was paid off by those extra repayments that I was making. Instead of paying it off over 6 years, I paid it off over 3.5 years. And I think by the time I released the video on TikTok and Instagram and all of that, I think it's on YouTube as well, around how you can pay off your car quickly. It was literally just after I had done it. And I was sitting down and I'm like, these are small pockets of, milestones. These are small pockets of things that you've managed to do really well. Like when I have debt, I pay it off really quickly. Even with like my apartment and stuff, it's like whatever I was throwing towards the car, it's like now diverted to we paying this thing off. And you look at it and you're like, and then this thing is going to be paid off in 5 years. Like 5 years time, this thing is going to be paid off, and we can move on to securing another property in terms of building a portfolio of properties, right? And I was like, but these are the things where when I'm sitting down and I'm thinking about my own journey around building generational wealth, these are things that I'm not acknowledging. These are things that I'm not actually like celebrating or ticking off as milestones, because you sort of fall in love with the idea of it's going to be worth celebrating when it's bigger. It's going to be worth celebrating when it's, better than what it currently is. And we kind of defer the joy and defer immersing ourselves fully in the journey because we discredit the small milestones or the achievements, not even small. Some of these things are big, the big milestones and the achievements that we get along the way. And so in your journey of building, I hope you do not wait until you've reached the final destination for you to be able to sit down and reflect. It can be a career journey, it can be a business journey, it can be whatever journey. I hope you do not take too long to sit down and celebrate yourself and give yourself a pat in the back for breaking habits around, takeaways, or breaking habits around not being able to budget well, breaking habits around not investing, breaking habits around, falling on the credit card trap where you pay it off only for you to use it again after a week. Like, these are small milestones that we may take for granted, but in the bigger scheme of things, if you are able to stay away from your credit card, for you to be able to invest, then you get closer to your dream of becoming financially independent or building the generational wealth, right? Like, the small steps that we're taking every day, they lead up to the big goal, which is I want to leave wealth, not only for this generation, but 2 generations to come. So I hope in your journey as well, whether it's your business, I mean, I see it with my business as well, my Shereni Metis group. It's like there were moments where working with bursaries, like collaborating with bursaries was a dream, right? And now when I'm being called and they've got graduates and they want me to speak to them and they buy the book, which you need to buy, by the way, Mind Your Sense, for their students, it just feels like, oh my God, this is surreal, because when I started the business and when I wrote the book, this was one of the goals I had, to say, I want to collaborate with bursaries. I want to work closely with societies and university to be able to equip more students to do that. And I mean, I can't even count how many times I've been at Verts, how many times I've visited UJ, to do these kind of collaborations. And it's like, when you look at your life, it feels like there's actually no progress, but there is. That's the tricky part of it. There is progress. There was something that you were chasing and you now have it. There was something that you wanted and you've now attained it, right? But it takes conscious level of gratitude to say, I will celebrate this. I am thankful for this, because automatically as human beings, we're non-satiable. We always want more. So you will move from one thing to the other without actually acknowledging and realizing how rich your experience or your journey has been. So if there's anything that you can take from today's video, is take a moment, pause, reflect, celebrate even the smallest of things. And it's like, when you live your life thinking that there is nothing great happening in your life, that's the perspective or the lens you will use to basically look at your life. But when you start realizing that even the smallest thing, like getting that client, getting that contract, getting that collaboration, reaching 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. You guys don't understand how long I was praying for 5,000 subscribers. And I think I was stuck on 3,000 something for 2 years because I wasn't posting. But like realizing that these small wins, they're all leading to the big win at the end of the day. They're all part of the journey that will be completed. It's like laying brick, next to another brick, next to another brick as you pave. As you pave your way to your goal, you will eventually get there. But if you only wait until you get there to immerse yourself fully and enjoy the journey, then it's going to be a very long, lonely, tiring journey that, may even dry up your soul and your zeal for what you love, because it just feels like we haven't gotten there yet. But what if being on the way to where you want to be, that's actually more important than you being there? But anywho, those are just, some of my reflections for the past couple of weeks and sort of where I am. And I thought, since I'm in the business of oversharing these days, let me come here and overshare. But we're not just oversharing. There's a bit of, as we draw to a close, admin things, right? That I firstly just want to celebrate. Want to celebrate the book, of course. I think every single time when I read this book, I'm amazed of how amazing this book is. So because I'm amazed of how amazing this book is, I challenge you to read this book so that you understand what I mean by that. But thank you for 5,000 subscribers. We're on 5,220 today, right? As I'm recording this. And I'm like, this is crazy how things quickly change, move. I mean, on my birthday, 5,000 subscribers was like the goal, right? I was like, oh my God, guys, subscribe. Let's get to 5,000 subscribers. And I'm sitting here today. We are on 5,000 subscribers. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me and listen to my guests that come here. Thank you for actually deeming, your financial wellness as important as, you listening or learning about all the other things you could be learning about. And if you really love what we do on this channel, as we celebrate 5,000 subscribers, if you really believe in the vision that we have, which is basically to make financial literacy more inclusive, which is to teach more people around how to manage their money better, then do me a favor. Share this video on your WhatsApp status, your network, your whatever, your Instagram. Tag us. Let's celebrate this 5,000 subscribers in a bang to say, we did it. We did it. And if you've watched until right now on this video, I also just want to say thank you for watching until the very end. If you did watch until the very end, drop me a purple heart in the comment section. And I would really appreciate to see how many people listen until all the way to the end. But that's all for me this week. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed my rambling and my reflections and my oversharing on this episode. And I hope as I poured my heart out, it really touched your heart as well. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I love you guys so much. See you in the next video. Oh, bye.